Thank you, Barbara.
She's a great
Thanks, Barbara.
Thanks.
Critical.
Just a repeat for the record, board chair announcements, big thank you to Mike, Kyle, and Aaron for practicing and getting everything together for the lottery, making sure it went off without a hitch. And thank you everybody who participated, who attended, all the applicants. Even if you were not ultimately contract awardee, we definitely encourage you. We have more houses coming up to stay tuned on our progress and apply again next time. So with that, we will move to our public comment period. One more shot, Deborah. It looks like you are only member of the public on the line. If you have any comments you want to make. Okay. Well, then with that, we will move to our executive director's report.
Sweet.
Oh, yes. That was. That wasn't in the
It's
agenda.
before, it's before the.
I only read what's on the cue card. Oh, it is. I skipped it. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept the prior meeting minutes as uploaded to YouTube and approve the current meeting agenda.
Motion to approve the prior minutes according to YouTube.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Right.
Great. Now jumping back forward.
Thank you, sir.
Executive Director's report.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. As Nate said, thank you so much for doing this. It's great. It means a lot. And thank you for everybody who helped out. So I have my buckets. My buckets are the pipeline. We have no change from last month over the number of properties that are potentially identified. It's still at 95. We're still trying to figure out if funding can be found to clean up and potentially do new construction at 24 Belmont. Similarly, we are still waiting to move forward with a possible update to our disposition policy with the city of Kingston. From our perspective, our hope is that this could allow us future opportunities for pipeline properties, but nothing to report at this time. However, we have something to talk about in our pipeline that's new, which is 46 Grand Street, RFEI, coming to the council for a vote on the 3rd of February. This had gone through the finance committee previously. We received a unanimous vote in favor of our RFI response. We're very hopeful to get a favorable response. And as always, the National Community Stabilization Trust, I am reporting that there are no properties offered to us this month under that agreement. Pre-development, 4 properties, same as last month. Minor updates on 3rd Avenue include that we were told by the state we would hear back this month or next on the Mid-Hudson Momentum Funding Award. So stay tuned for that. We've been going down this road for a long time, so that may or may not turn out to be accurate this time. Our home HDEV, these are our 3 new construction single-family homes that we build on the 3 lots that we own and control. We were told by the state a few weeks ago that we will hear back probably with a favorable vote at the board meeting in early February. So that can get going, hopefully soon. Just echoing what Nate said around the entire Keystone program, sales and marketing, #1, this is like a big antsy thing that we do, and it's really great that we did such a wonderful job, and I appreciate it. So just sticking to potential new funding opportunities, as I said, but I'll keep it in the same bucket, or I'll put it in both buckets. The home HDP money for that new construction single family home, that's $708,000. We were told to expect an award next month. Moving on to my other category, only have 2 things to mention. First is thank you all for an awesome retreat. I know, like, from my perspective, it was a little weird location. That's on me. I think we can find a different place. I know it's like out in the woods and it's dark and it's cold. I think we may be able to find another place, but thank you for coming to it and being part of it. And I really think it's a great way for us to come together and ask questions and do stuff. The last thing I will say is that just for your awareness, on the 3rd of February, the day before the full council vote just happens to take place at the full meeting for the Grand Slam, we will be presenting our annual report to the council, which is in our bylaws. And so that will take place if you're bored. That is my report. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Mike. With that, we'll move on to the committee reports. Acquisition, disposition, and construction. I believe Aaron was, I don't actually know who's nominated for the chair for every committee.
I
The
should-
ones are not on, so I think Aaron was nominated again.
It is Aaron. Aaron is unfortunately out sick. Kyle, if you wouldn't mind jumping in with your section first, I will find what I'd like to do, try to cover for Aaron, but you'll be covering the financing and sales updates.
Sure. Excuse me. Okay, so this is the latest financing summary for the Keystone project.
Hey Kyle, could you zoom in a little bit?
Yep. Is that better?
Better.
Again, this is the total project status, where we're standing, and the funding sources that we've drawn down. And we're starting to draw down more on ARPA funds. See a large requisition pending from ARPA this month, and we're starting to draw down more on Novo funds as we've spent down more of our LBI funding on this project and used up certain buckets reserved for soft costs and pre-development costs and things like that. So expect to see more from this column going forward. Good news is we are approaching completion on these homes. Chapel, we're at 73% drawn down. Abbey, 78%. Stefan, 71%. Gale, 58%. Again, this doesn't reflect the full budget. There are some savings and that we've realized throughout the project, and some contingency items that we may not spend. So yes, we're pretty near done. I think Mike should have some more detail on the status of all these projects in his notes. But happy to answer any questions anyone might have about the financing for Keystone.
Okay, I will try to both pretend to be Aaron supervising this section of the meeting, and Owen, who unfortunately you may have seen had to drop off. He had a conflict. So in essence, what Owen said this morning is we have 4 houses basically completed and 2 houses about to start up or move towards completion. That's not the full summary. I need my reading glasses. So Keystone updates. We have 2 houses that have substantial completion dates this week. 38 Chapel and 20 Stefan. This is a huge milestone on the construction side to get to the point where Stacy and I were talking about this morning. We released the retainer we were talking about in finance. So that's a big part of the puzzle to just get to the stage where we have final punch list to walk through the homes. This means that not only is the retainage released, but we're in a position to conduct appraisals, which is a big part of the next step of getting ready to sell the home. So that takes place on Thursday. I'm reading off script, but those were my thoughts on that. They're both expected to have cleaning, both those 2 homes, Chapel and Stefan, expected to have cleaning and final inspections done by the end of this week or early next week. Punch list items will continue to be worked on in the next few weeks. 28 Abbey has a substantial completion date of the 14th of February. That date got moved because the lead time for the front door, but that door got here sooner than expected. So that house is largely complete at this point. Punch list, final cleaning, and lead clearance testing and final inspection are happening in the next few weeks. 69 Gill Street has a substantial completion date of also, 1 day later, of the 15th of February. Though this house has been lagging behind schedule-wise, it is catching up. It is expected to reach substantial completion very close to this date. While this house will be the last to wrap up its punch list items, I think that it will be finished quickly enough to not hold up the sales process, says Owen. Construction of 52 Grand and 488 Hasbrook is well underway. There have been some issues surfaced during demolition. Many have been resolved at this point. I believe he's referring to the structural work that we encountered in enclosing the porch at 52 Grand. So just as an aside, both houses are nearing completion of their framing work, and Grand will likely have its mechanical, electrical, plumbing rough-ins done this week as well. Wow, it's cooking. It's really good. Construction drawdown is still healthy. We moved a big structural change order at Grand Street at 52 Grand from pending to quote in contract this past month. This is in Owen's tracker, but no big updates to our overall expectations around this construction budget. Any questions? I will try to answer them.
For Chapel.
Yeah.
Where we're showing negative 26% of contingency spent.
Yes.
Does that mean we're way under budget?
It means that we are not expending the full contract amount. I believe there are credits that came back to us, and I can't remember the specifics of what those credits are. You're seeing 38%. Sorry?
We accounted for some work that didn't need to be done.
That's absolutely correct. I just off the top, in the roof. Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yes,
That was great. I'm not complaining.
it's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same for Stefano, looks like, I guess, and Abby too, like they're all, and Hasbro so far, but that's pretty early on.
Yeah, and even Gil a little bit shows -2. So I think part of this, not to go too deep into the weeds, but as Owen showed at our retreat, we're sort of looking at different ways of budgeting, budgeting for contingency. And the way that we decided to move forward with the contracts on this was to have a contract set and then do something that we haven't done before because we didn't take the time to do it, which was to sit with the contractor, walk the site, identify anything else that could potentially, we didn't know about Grand Street, for example, but say this and that and the other, and put that into the initial contract. So you see a contract that's higher than it might have otherwise been, but that's why things are falling off, because we didn't know, but we put it in instead. Yeah. Those are, I believe, our updates at ADC, unless Kyle, you wanted to say anything about our historical timeline for getting people into homes after the lottery, but I don't mean to put you on the spot, but we've done this before.
Yeah, the goal at this point is to move on to closings early spring. And yeah, seems like, as Mike just mentioned, we'll have these homes finished well before that. But at this point, yeah, we're reaching out to the contract awardees and gonna be moving through the process with them. And then we'll be starting up another marketing campaign for the final 2 homes at some point in the upcoming months.
Thanks. Awesome.
Are we planning on doing a ribbon cutting?
I think we should.
Yeah, I mean, we always should. It's great publicity for us. So.
Absolutely.
I know it's sort of dependent on the homeowners and if they're willing to do it, so we have to wait to see. But
That's it.
of the houses, I don't know, I'm trying to think which one has like the best parking and front.
We
porch.
totally don't. Chapel has a big parking lot across
Yeah.
the street. There's a big porch. Abby looks good too. Yeah,
Chapel's
that's
like
it's on a hill, but yeah,
Not kidding.
not kill. It's kind of tough. They're all great. There's street parking for any of them.
just something to think about.
Carpool, we could do yes, thank you for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
sort of practice what we're trying to preach. Yeah, if you tried to bike up Chapel, you might feel different.
Let's practice.
E-bike. E-bike, yeah.
You got one?
Bike network.
I smell a task force.
It's hard.
All right. Then in that case, we'll move on to the Finance and Audit Committee. Rebecca, I assume. Yes.
I was mute there for a moment, but now I'm not mute anymore. Hi. Here we are, very exciting evening. I want to compliment again all of the work that went into this evening. I just want to say well done. You can't say well done often enough about a complicated and nuanced process that changes people's lives. So here's my little report from the Finance Committee. The end of the year report shows a wildly reduction of anticipated construction costs from 2025 from 2.9 to 2.5 million. The reduction is due to delays. Can you hear me? Am I doing okay here? No? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. A lot of feedback over here, like I'm a rock star. Okay. The reduction is due to the delays to commencing this work on the discussed in other places in this meeting, home, HDEV, and 46 Grand Developments. We were originally told that the HCHR that home would be awarded by December 2024, and that by this, and told by the city, the 46 grand would be awarded by October 24. The delays resulted in the above mentioned reduction expenses have to do with those facts. The bottom line is that all projects are proceeding according to agreed plans and with best practice. And so the result remains a balanced budget and financial report. We are preparing for and will be ready for annual budget. It's not budget, or annual. Oh my God. Audit, there's the word, audit, in a timely and elegant manner early in 2025. If you would like to go into more granular detail, the activity and P&L statements are in your board package for your review. They have been renamed to better align with the current software, which besides just being clearer, is also cheaper. Always a good thing, right? At least that's what I understand, Stacy, right?
Yes.
So that's really all the basic news. I am going to hand this over now to Nate to summarize what we've done in relationship to healthcare in both compensation and also financial committee meetings. So Nate, it's yours.
Thanks, Rebecca. First, because this next section involves what is it, personnel information, I'll entertain a motion to move to executive session.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? All in favor? Great. Thank you. Welcome back. So I will now entertain a motion to vote on approving the revised 2025 KCLB budget as presented in the board package.
Motion to approve the revised number as presented in the full package.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. All in favor? Motion passes. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Can I go to?
Thank you, everybody. I'm going to jump off now.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Bye, Rebecca.
I'll see you guys.
That's a good question too. That's one of the things that we're working on with Brown and Brown. The hope was that it could go into effect in February.
Sometimes there are like enrollment periods, like.
Yeah, I think because it's
Choose
a,
your own. That's nice, okay.
because it's a new plan, I think it counts as like a qualifying event, so it doesn't have to be an enrollment period. Yeah. Great. All right. Next up, the Communications, Community Engagement and Fundraising Committee. Who's the chairman? Barbara. Barbara. Take it away.
Sorry, did we also need to vote on accepting the treasurer's report?
Oh, we never did that. Barbara, you're keeping me honest today.
I've got my template for, my secretarial duties.
Is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
Motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Is there a second? All in favor? Great. Motion passes. Now we will move on to the Communications, Community Engagement and Fundraising Committee. Barbara.
Okay, yeah, I'm a little bit underprepared for this portion of the board meeting, but we did have our first committee meeting. Let me just pull up my notes from that meeting really quickly. Sorry, I have too many screens open. We talked about kind of the the goals that we wanted to set for this year. We want to have goals of being more consistent with our social media presence, be more consistent with our cross posting and promotion, maybe try to plan, or have a presence at an event each quarter throughout the community, whether it's something, we elect to host or is already like an established community event. And we are getting the new committee members up to speed as to, you know, our previous communications efforts. And I think, you know, I'm gonna focus on the next meeting of creating a, you know, plan for for this coming year. So, yeah, don't think I missed anything, but, you know,
We elected you chair. That was the other thing we did.
oh, yes, that too.
Thank you. Moving on to governance. Governance will meet, yeah, right?
Governance hasn't met with this still because the bylaw is tracking for the second reading.
Oh, right,
That was
right.
it's in the board package. We've read it once before.
I'll cover that.
Okay.
I think I'm forgetting who I even. I'll handle this
Decided chair, so.
report. So for governance, that committee did not meet yet. It typically only meets quarterly, or as needed. But we do have a second reading of the amended bylaws. So as I know, it's been a little while, so just to refresh everybody's memory, the changes that we are proposing, first to Article 2 with the board. That's just a typo change, right?
Yes.
Eligibility and qualifications. Oh, yeah. So just a typo fix in Article 2 about the board. But the main thing was adjusting the language about the term in office. If you recall previously, we had this weird system where new board members like took over somebody else's old term. So there was a situation where you could end up being termed out after only like 4 years. So we're just changing that. So basically the 6-year and 2-term clock starts to run from whenever board member joins.
Even if you're replacing
Even if
someone
you're,
who's leaving before their term is up.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think that was the only, or did we have
We do
to
have the
conflict?
conflict of interest
Yeah.
already.
We combined them, yeah,
Okay.
the conflict change. So we also had a couple of minor changes to the conflict of interest in terms of like how a relative is defined. We just changed some terms to combine to siblings. I think that was it, right? Oh, no, we added all this language about current board members, officers, or employees basically can't acquire any interest or any property of the organization while they are currently on the board or on staff. And then for a period of 2 years after whenever that service is up, whether that's a board member whose term ends or a staff member who leaves or is terminated, for that 2-year period, they also are prohibited from obtaining any property. So that includes applying to homes. So there's like a 2-year moratorium. That was it, basically. Yeah.
Question about that, even
Yes.
though I know I'm on this committee. I'm just thinking like, so within 2 years after leaving the board, if the KCLB is selling a property like Downs, you would not be allowed to enter into a contract. Okay.
That's right.
Even if it's not like a lottery.
But even if it is a lottery.
No, of course, but I just mean like, even that's.
Oh, even if it's an as-is.
Yeah, like, or it's giving, giving,
Yeah.
Okay.
Any discussion, questions? No? Then I will entertain a motion to approve the amended bylaws. It's presented in board package.
Motion to approve the amendment bylaws as presented in the board.
Sarah, is a second? Joanna, all in favor? Thanks, everybody. And that is it for governance. moving on to the design committee and our new board chair, Paul.
Yes, Nate elected me board chair. Because you weren't there. We just talked about our goals for this year would be to look at the design package and make sure that that is, again, I think was one of the goals from last year, just actively, excuse me, doing it this year. Going through them. So Mike sent us over some stuff that we could review, and go from there.
Great.
Yeah, wasn't good. I was given 2 projects.
Oh, yeah, Paul's gonna be the point person for Grant and Hasbrook.
Great.
Great.
Great. We don't have any other members of the public here, so we can skip to public comments. Is there any new business that anybody wants to present? No? If not, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn this marathon of the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Great. Thank you, everybody.